Like a song, you have to differ the melodies between the verse and the chorus most times. And all the arrangement go. If you have a pre-chorus, you do something different and all of them things there. When we start to their people like Handel and Clive Hunt and them people there, you get to find out the arrangement, how you get the, you know, in the 90s the arrangement that plays out very key.
But at that point, you are really veering into producer territory.
Yeah. Cause in the 90s, a lot of people had the money, but them just left the tape and said, "Vice the artist."
The people who had the money left the tape to voice the artist. What are they?
They're executive producers.
All right. So for the audience sake, the executive producer is the man who
Finance the project.
Project. The producer is the man who
Dear and guide you, and you know, in terms of saying, you know, from the start, initial start, sometime from the rhythm start to everything, he will be the man that said, "I want this type of thing, you know, this type of tempo." If there's no song,
so he actually directs. He actually is the one who dictates what direction
the music, gonna take.
Okay.
And if say you come with a song, him have the idea, say, alright, I'm gonna bring whether Steely and Cleve if you come play this rhythm.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring.
So executive producer is the financer.
No.
The producer is the
man that sits and him supposed to can hear half key and everything and say, "Yo, come back this."
So the producer is the man who is the musical director, right?
Director and arranger. Most of the time.
And the engineer
is the man technically supposed to make sure that everything technically is right with this recording.
Okay.
And then you have people who are mixed, who can do both recording and mixing, who, you know, go between, like myself.
And then so you have different categories of engineers too. You have mixing
engineer. Who does a recording engineer because him feel good doing that. And some of them, people are great in that and him just stick to that.
Okay.
Of him, they have an next man, him is just a mixing engineer. After a while, he start out in the recording, but after a while him tell himself, him is just a mixing engineer. Because recording comes a lot of, you know that, as a producer, you know the ins and outs. It comes with enough things that people have, it's very, if you alone sit and mix, sometimes it's more even better. And, you know, people, you know, a producer might come and say, do this and do that. You and him alone, blaze on that. But when you have, in a recording situation, as they say, the artists, I remember back in the 90s, it was rhythm thing, most of it. So we have 6 man in the studio for voice for one rhythm. And the man say, "Yo, the man in our voice before me." And, you know, and the man drone their voice and the man say, "You TP some lyrics." And, you know, it was, yeah.
So give me one of your craziest stories. Give me one of the craziest sessions you ever conduct. Give me a
the
crazy
craziest
story.
session is Roof International. We have Vice and Diplomat and Musili Clear start fight out in the lobby.
Who's Diplomat?
Diplomat is the artist in a record for Roof too. And Little Hero and him start fight and them broke on the glass door to go into the studio too. There's no backlash whatsoever. Bro,
what were they fighting for?
We don't know what they were fighting for. We don't know. We were in the studio recording. And the next thing you know, out there in the lobby, fight and one.
My word.
Yeah.
That was.
Our next crazy thing too is when we then the record what did reggae for Disney. Our Ras record that with Dr. Dre. And Mr. Gregory Issacs pushing the head. Say, Doc, call out Doc. Then me see Doc coming back at Trimble. Say Gregory back at 45. Him write it in the book. Coming in the night. I can't forget the night.
Gregory Issacs back at 45.
Whatsoever. I don't know. But we never see. But him come back and shake. Look like, like you see a dumpy. Yeah. Yeah, Gregory Issacs, a good virgin of mine. Good virgin. One of the coolest human beings in there.
Okay.
He was witty, very witty.
Right.
Yeah, man. Full of joke and him know to write. I remember I advised him for Fattis, that are 2000 now. And then I read him book in Mills and Boone, those novels, and said, nah, if I still Fattis come with whatsoever money him bring in, Fattis came. Gregory Issacs said, alright, that read him there. I'm listening out the reading there about 2 hours. And go around and him within about a hour, a little bit, invite a 3 tune there. Don't know, came up with some good lyrics.
Okay.
Yeah, you read that. Yeah, his love song.
Maybe reading those Mills and Boone had something to do with it. How he came up with all these love songs.
Yeah, man.
Were you ever attacked in a session by anybody physically?
No. Me and nobody, not really. I never really.
Okay.
Attack playing sound system in 1985.
Okay, but
yeah,
not
in Dunkirk. A man lick with a piece of board, so we are playing too much foreign music.
But not in the studio.
Not in the studio.
Not in the studio.
We are playing too much foreign music.
But at that point, Gussie had various engineers.
Yeah. But
where were you on the totem pole of those engineers? Because
in terms of it, Marshall was the top man at the time in the 90s. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But me and Garfield was the one where, when that new console came, the Mozart, Marshall never wanted to run that.
Why?
I don't know. It was too technical, I believe. I don't know. Too technical of a console.
Who's Garfield? You mentioned Garfield.
Yeah, Garfield McDonald.
Okay.
Yeah. Chris McDonald, brother.
Okay.
Yeah. The two of we work.
So Marshall was actually top engineer.
Yeah.
At the time.
But him had the most mixing.
Okay, mostly mixing. And then you and Garfield was like.
Yeah, in terms of the tops, in terms of recording, we were the one.
Okay.
Yeah, Murphy too. Yeah. And then Murphy left and started power with Fatty straight up. So me and Garfield was there alone, and then I left in 97, went back to Arrows and did like a year or 2 years.
Oh, you left
3 years,
for a
yeah.
year. Okay.
Yeah, 3 years, and then came back to Gussie in 2000. But me always did that do session, like when me done Arrows at even time. People would tell me why them have a session.
Was it because you had a falling out with anybody?
No, but Arrows are my godfather, and him say him build the recording studio now.
Okay.
And him had put in. Me know about how to sync the tape them.
Right.
Because I learned that at Gussie.
Right.
So I made have a 24 and a 16 Atari machine. So, and had some good speakers.
So out of respect and loyalty, you went.
I went back to there,
okay.
And then it didn't work out because because of the area, you couldn't run a night session like Gussie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that because you're in East Kingston and
right.
Dunkirk around the corner, Rockfort out there. So
right.
They call the man them up there.
You're not Shatta territory.
Yeah, Shatta the zone. Yeah.
Okay.
So went back to Gussie in 2000. I just run a joke with Gussie because in 2000 I next had a set of the gangsterism it want to step into me again. Yeah, so I decided a little thing it happened and I say, this is a cue for load them people here.
Oh, okay.
And I just decided. I just run a joke one day, I come there for work with somebody and I say, Gussie, you don't want an engineer? I say, anytime you're ready, man. I'm there in my yard and Lydia called me. She was the manager. And I say, yeah, man, you ready? I say, yeah. I just come back and start work. Start work with Exterminator and slide them and everything. And see it.
Okay, so
25 years after
you became thereafter like the premier engineer.
Yeah. By 2008,
Recording.
yeah. 2008, yeah.
And what are the biggest projects? Name me some of the projects you were on.
Michael Franti
From
the Spirits, Michael Franti and the Spirits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Different from the 90s with the Fugees them and Big Mountain them. Jason Mraz. We did one song with him. Yeah, we did a whole album with me and Bolby mix with Sinead O'Connor.
Oh.
And me and him mixed with Michael Franti too, and all of these things. Couple double albums with Sly Robbie. We did all. What's her name? Melissa Etheridge. We did a remix for.
Melissa Etheridge.
Yeah, and Madonna. Beyonce. And all these people. Yeah, we did a lot of work. You know.
With Alicia Keys.
Alicia was my thing. We did a remix, but never was an official remix. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but a lot of stuff. Sly Robbie brought a lot of people. Yeah. To Jamaica.
A lot of these projects were all because of Sly and Robbie.
Sly and Robbie, yeah.
Okay.
And me was a trusted engineer. Well, yeah.
But why you? What would you say? What qualities would you say you displayed or possess that made you so
technically
successful?
As an engineer, I embrace technology and I embrace change. As time move on, you have to move with it. You can't be stuck here and say, boy,
right.
Me used to record when I stood there, Ray, and it did sound great. No. Anything will come, we move with it. Keep on moving. And yeah. Well, we have to embrace change as technology moves. Yeah, every time.
And what you started in what would be considered the analog age.
Analog era, yeah.
The analog era with 8-track, two track,
and
it was Tascam machines at that time.
Tascams and Studar. Some people have Studar, but Otari.
Okay.
Otari, yeah.
And what kind of consoles were being used at that time? What kind of
Sony MCI. Sony MCI was, and then you have Amic, a company out of England. They make the Mozart, the Hendrix, the Einstein, the Big By Langley.
And after the reel-to-reel, after tape era, what era came in after that?
After that came digital recording.
In the form of?
Pro Tools, which is hard disk based recording.
Okay.
Means everything is stored on a hard disk.
But I think you're skipping something here. Did they move to
ADAT? ADAT. Yes, remember that. That then never lasted very long.
Never lasted very long. What a brief period.
A brief period, the ADAT and the DA
88.
Because I had a set of machines to myself one time.
Right.
And then when Pro Tool came, I decided no.
Oh, okay. So the Pro Tools was when we moved to computerized.
The hard disk recording. Yeah.
Okay.
In TDM, and then we came to HD. TDM was the first really good system.
Right.
And then the HD system.
Why you
Anchor had the first HD system.
Why do you, in your opinion, why do you believe the ADAT, DA88 did not last long?
Because there are tapes same way, and tape of it falls in terms of the machines them, in terms of the transports. The 24-track and the 16-track transports are very more durable than those other smaller tapes. But
okay.
And even the width of the music too.
Okay.
The 2-inch was the ultimate sound in terms of how big.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're saying the ADAT period, the music, it was a thinner sound.
A thinner sound. Yeah.
Okay.
Really.
Okay.
They made have.
So how did you? What difficulties you had at the advent of Pro Tools?
Was how for really the shortcuts, yeah. I know, how to maneuver the system. And when we develop,
Would you have to be computer literate to deal with Pro Tools? Suppose you're an engineer who is not computer literate.
and don't really, yes.
What challenge would you say that person would not be able to?
One of the first thing was we had to embrace all the. Cause me look at Pro Tools in a sense like a tape machine.
Uh-huh.
The only thing you can put the plugins instead of the external EQ, you can put the EQ there. But yeah, the plugins are great. They get better and better.
Mm-hmm.
I remember went to Chicago first and I got the first UAD1 interface card.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard the sound of that interface card and I said, Universal Audio is the company where I do plugins where I combine both, in the digital realms, but them keeping the analog sound.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But for an
Sonics, engineer.
For a manual type engineer, a man who's used to pressing button, tweaking knobs. Now you have to deal with a lot of. I think you have to have a certain level of literacy.
Yeah. Literacy of to move the mouse and all these things and
then read what's on
the curves and all of that, because on certain consoles they have the same curves, same way, but like here, you might press a button and it make the bandwidth open or it make it close, certain way.
So you're saying an engineer who's not computer literate would not survive? No.
Yeah. You have to be an embrace computer. Yeah. Unless you're going to have an
What
assistant.
kind of learning curve
Unless you're gonna
you had to go through with Pro Tools? Did somebody had to teach you, or
I buy it first. I buy a Digio2.
Which is the interface?
The interface and the yard and
you bought one?
yeah, with my computer and when we go home at night time, go on trial and error.
Okay. And what about readings of
and
manual?
then one of the main things where somebody will teach me about this computer part said to me one day, he said, make sure everything is recorded on the grid. And that's where I realized the grid is in a tempo, in a song. 4/4 timing.
Right.
Time signature. The first beat must be, if the hi-hat's supposed to be on the first beat, it's supposed to be there. Everything's supposed to be on this line, the grid line, and match it with the tempo go right down. It's not supposed to drift. If you're using a drum machine,
right.
And thing and all of them things there, and develop it and but we treat it like a tape machine, but only the editing part, you thing. And nowadays,
is the editing part the most challenging?
No, now it becomes more easier because it just coming like a cakewalk in terms of. But
what about compatibility? Suppose a man have something that he recorded in the analog time.
Okay, well that's gonna be will never be. That's gonna be. Remember, suppose he recorded on an analog tape. The analog tape drift. So the tempo, even if it's a drum machine played in the 90s, it not gonna be on the same thing because the tapes have it warps and all them things,
So the tapes can actually deteriorate.
Yeah, over the time, and the machine where you play with too, sometimes its speed is not constant in terms of all that too. Okay. You have to be cleaning the transport them and all that. Yeah.
But in terms of recording someone, would you say the Pro Tools made that process easier?
Easier, yeah. When you can fly things, yeah. When you can
What about a
cut
person?
and paste.
What about
And
because,
now with Melodyne, you can pitch a note, you can just take it and just...
because the 80s was infamous for off-key music.
Yeah,
I think that is the era of off-key.
Yeah, the 80s came and the 90s it got a little teeny bit better, but enough of the DJs then. What people never understand, DJ never really DJ key-wise between the 80s into the 90s. You'd have some man where really was on key. Because
Who
Fabulous.
Who is the most off-key artist you ever record?
There's so much of them. Since the advent of Pro Tool, I see so much people come. Sometimes they make my head hot me. Yeah, Melodyne kind of make it a little bit different now. You can pitch the note and do all kind of things.
Give me a name, man. Who gave you the most headache in terms of staying on key? Wow. Alright, I don't want to get you in trouble.
I can't try to remember really. But some of them, back in the 90s, you know, if a man was too off key and it not gonna win, producer, we say, no, that song gonna make it come out, next person.
Oh, back in the 90s?
90s,
a producer would actually tell an artist.
Yeah, and I like now a man book him through the time himself and tell himself, say, him an artist. You know, his dream of
And what about the so-called producers who think they are producers?
That's the next other one now where sometimes you have to take over the project sometime and some of them may acknowledge and say, alright, take it over boss and you do the best thing and give me the best thing. Yeah.
Because if the artist come in and the artist is not is not musical, and the producer don't know what he's doing,
oh gosh,
where that leave you?
Or sometimes it's like I'm gonna say sing it up there so, and the whole song can't up there so. The melody of it varies, like our waveform varies.
Oh, okay.
You can't, everything can be done so. If you have a flat line, is that dead?
But
is that dead?
In your estimation, how many producers can come in there and know the key? And know the key that the man is singing. Yeah, know the key that the man is singing in. Like, can they actually hear the singer sing? And
you have some man where technically he have good hearing. He might not be a player of music, but him hearing is so sharp. One of that man was Winston Riley.
Oh, okay.
Was a producer. Yeah, I can't say no man, that song gonna make it, man.
Right.
That song go and come back with that and change that, was one of them great producers that were like that.
Oh, okay.
Some of the whole time ones that were like that. Yeah man, that song, it was something there, so man, it changed there, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you start good, but you know, good.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Yes.
So a lot of people like Winston Riley, you said that there's your guys who have an ear
feet, man, and can help you write a song and arrange up everything, man. And then they went rhythm and lick everything from day one.
Mr. Clark, who run the studio that you are top engineer for.
Because you have a hearing for know, so him can put this set of teams, people together, like different musicians and different.
He's a master at putting
things together.
An ensemble.
Yeah, and song. If you find a song and say yes, that song is great. Then him and him know the right set of people like for direct the vocals and all them things. Then him will employ people that will come with vocal arrangement.
He actually employ arrangers.
Yes. Yeah, like Dean, Mikey, Bennett and them people,
Okay. Okay.
So you have to know, and him know, say, yo, that song, it needs something else. He bring a song and no.
Have you ever met Mr. Chris Blackwell?
Yes, man, I've met him.
What's your impression of him?
Chris is a visionary in terms of him know where, to take an artist and projects when no, so yes, we can do this to take it to that level there, yeah. Work with him on the first Michael Franti album, we record at Anchor, yeah. Yes.
What's the most successful era of the music?
Is the 2002 when the dancehall burst out there. The era the between late 2002 when Shaggy Hot Shot it burst, yeah, come right up to about 2007 so 8.
Who else? Who apart from Shaggy?
Shaggy, Sean Paul, Elephant, all kind of things, for people. Well,
would you say that era has surpassed the 70s?
No, I wouldn't say
the Bobs and the Burning
No.
Spears
In my modern time, when me I talk about where I around, yeah. But in other, yeah, well, 75, from 75 to about 1980, 81, tobacco over there, bursting out there, on Dennis Brown, 82, 83, yeah, so. Yellow Man, yeah.
You would say that was
from the 70s there. From after they come was what, 72, 73. Then Bob them came after and that, yeah. I believe from 73 to 83, that decade is the most successful for Jamaican.
And where did it go wrong in the 80s?
The 80s when a lot of reducers start to come down. And in a sense, digital rhythms, they help fuck the thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it help do it where, in terms of the production, after a while, some of the time, the people, and then the one rhythm thing.
The one rhythm thing.
You
would say the one rhythm thing is the single biggest factor that
kill the creativity of the music.
Because Bob Marley never sang on a rhythm.
No, you never hear him.
Peter never sang on a rhythm.
Everything else of them it created and people come on it after.
Yeah. Jimmy Cliff never sang on a rhythm.
Because people must understand, when Uri came, he came with what we call remix.
Right.
Where it's the advent and the start of where we call hip hop.
Right.
Where you remix a song. A song is already out there doing good, but you put a next twist to it, and it sometimes go big and even get more famous than the original.
Right.
So that was the thing where rhythm came about in the dancehall. These songs were playing and the rhythm they made a mash up the dance already. So when you put Raw and do a different twist on it, it take it to a next level.
So Raw was like that. Would you that
1970
was like the remix. That was the phenomena of remix. Because Uri was actually a remix.
Yeah.
Uri, yeah.
The start of what we call hip hop.
Hip hop.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Him is really the godfather.
Right. So this one rhythm thing and this rhythm driven
it get monotonous. One of the time I was tired of it, mixing it in the 2000 and especially in the 2000 when man started make all 2 albums out of one rhythm. Because of the greed of the record company them. Because them see the rhythm. Instead of you factoring and say, alright, we say the rhythm is nice, why we don't do something in another vibe there but different, different thing can be the same key, same progression, but a different coloring to it in terms of the music.
Right. And Island Records brought countless amount of Jamaican artists to the fore. Beginning with Millie Small and all these great artists. And Chris Blackwell ended up leaving the scene, exiting the scene in terms of putting out reggae music.
Yeah.
What would you say led to a decision like that?
Because Jamaican artists are hard to deal with. Let me tell you, in the 90s, I remember when the record company them signed whole heap of people. Through the time they all a hanker. Even when Island Jamaica. Through the time it's there and people don't turn up. So the record company paying for through the time and the artists don't turn up. I am turn up for 2 hours out of a 8 hour. The next 6 with us sitting there in the studio. Yeah, a lot of them have this to do and that and them don't understand. Sometimes it's not the big money you get up front. Think about it as business. We're gonna invest in our career. Yeah, I tell a lot of artists, invest in your career. Invest time and money into your career.